we're reviewing the sortable library. So you have implemented this list item. So each one of this is like this. So the sortable gem that we use, it's quite nice. Here's the link to it. When you read you look at a popular library, they tend to have a landing page for their tool. So click on that and see the demo. Okay. So here's the code. It say, hey, just call sortable on your element. This is the container, and then everything will work like that. So it gives you this understanding how things work. So what I do is I go to my app and I create a class called, you can call it anything. I like to call any class that I use with the word JS in front to tell me that I'm using it for JavaScript, not for styling. So I have this JS sortable, and that's the first step. Name that. The second step is that I want to call that sortable JS, but you need to tell it it's a class JS sortable like this. So I'm just following the instruction just like this library, except I don't call it O. Some people like to call that O. So that's how we do it. Now, if you don't believe me, you can view source and you see that, oh, here's my JavaScript file. I include jQuery and the sortable gem here. And then inside this, I have that sortable script. Okay? Now, so that's how it works. After you insert that, everything will just work like this. It's quite nice, right? Do you notice the thing here doesn't look that great yet? Well, that's the first step, and you can customize with CSS. So this was 2 weeks ago. This was, in week 2, I showed that you can use the sortable gem to do this for, the extra bit. For this week, then it looks like this app that, this one. It's a bit nicer that you can style the thing behind it, and then you can drag between groups. All right, I'll definitely fix the layout. Good job breaking everything here, guys. You guys I did not have a delete button, and all of these to-do items are like all bad. So sad, so embarrassing. By the way, there's a way to fix that really easily. What's that? What was that homework? I think it's this one. So I'll just restart Heroku. Okay, so if I reload this, because we're using file storage. Oh, right. So this is actually working as intended now. Okay, back to our review. The code pen today, and the first part, milestone 1A, you learn about the events, right? And by now, I think we all comfortable that, okay, this is one list. So look, I have one extra trick for some of you. This is one list box. We all know what a list box is already. This list box has this gray thing, right? But you see that you can create more lists, and it can go on to the right. So I have a list container here. It's very similar to Trello, really. Well, it's not exactly the way Trello does it, but I have a list container, and I tell this container to have like a very long width, so you can have as many as you want, and you just scroll from left to right like this. See, okay? So some of you might feel like, oh no, if I use display inline block or float, it doesn't work. For example, I just have more lists like that, okay? So just look at the thing over here. One list, 2 lists, 3 lists, 4 lists, so you can make it longer if you like. Right? I just have a container, it's really long. If I did not tell this container to be super long, with this one, if I don't have it, then this one will just be dependent on your width, right? Because the body is like that. But now I'm telling my container hey, you are the container of all these horizontal boxes, and the list box of just floating left with a margin right 10 pixel. So my container now, I just say, hey, 20,000. No, make it maximum. All right, that's cool, right? Unfortunately, right now, I'm sorry, it looks embarrassingly ugly if you click here like this, because it did not save my styling just now. Let me comment out all my lists for now first, so you can see. So I encourage everyone to practice styling it properly, okay? So this should be like the whole big nice element like in Trello. If you can do that, that would be awesome. And the way to do it is that make this add to list occupy the whole space. If you click outside here, it should work. So how do we make sure that works? This add list. Some of you, if you normally do the add list, let's see if it's here. Here, for example, I do it background like this. So to really show that it, you can click all the way to the end. You can do that. Let me comment out even more list. We don't need this extra boxes for now. Alright, comment out these guys. Alright. Right? So this is one way. You see that the width is everything. So if you click on this red area, it still works. Okay. And if you want to change the cursor, pointer, or hand, they're the same thing. Then you can tell the user that if you mouse over here, that can work. Okay. And of course, if you say, hey, this is still not cool, I want to click like up here, down here, then you just change the padding accordingly. A span, here's the span. Where's the, this guy? Here's the difference between a span and a div, okay? If it's a div, then it's always display block by default. So technically, you just change it to div and it works just fine. If it's a span, it only contains as much as that element. So don't use a span to put around a div. You can only use a div around a span. Yeah. 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 You use it for some small different cases. So some people might want to put the div around the span. Okay. So, however, it's okay. The designer might do the front end work and someone else changes. So you see Trello uses a span, but they also change that span into a block. That's okay. Right? So then it becomes just like a div. We okay so far with this guy? So let me explain to you the click function. So that's the cool bit. If you click here, right? Here's something that you should have an account, and I want you to use this debug mode often. All right, let's look at the JavaScript. So I have this function called focus list, okay? And every time you click on this link, this add list, yeah? Then you click on this add list span, then I focus on the list. And every time you click on the cancel, here, you click cancel here, I also call that function. So how can I call the same function and still get the result? I just call toggle class. Instead of add class or remove class, I call toggle class. It means if you already have a class, remove it. If you don't, add it. So that's quite useful, right? Remember the slide toggle? You can, if you do it, and why are you smiling so much?
You said you could have told us that earlier.
I don't want to tell you that. Sometimes you look it up and all right. Well, the problem is if we never use add class, we never use remove class, and the only thing I teach is toggle class, then you probably won't appreciate it. There is a time and place for everything. In this case, my logic is really simple. This guy, I want to toggle between hidden and no hidden. the add a listing, right? And this form, I also want to toggle between hidden and no hidden. But when I design this form, initially both of them, I want them to be visible, so I know what they look like before I add hidden to them. So let's look at CSS and really fix this, right? My add to list is too ugly right now. How do I, oh, it's called add list. Is there one? Because it looked really disgusting. So, all right, looks nicer now. My input here is too ugly, so that's called new list name. Learning to style this thing manually is very important, right? So this new list name is still ugly. So what can I do to make it prettier? I can get inspiration from, I don't know, somewhere else. Is this one? I don't know. So up to you, but I would go back to Trello. You say you see it's a bit ugly here, that is the padding is a little ugly. So I say, you know, padding 5 pixel, and it will look a little nicer there. That's a problem. There's a problem with 100%. This is a bit harder to fix, but if you add this, apply to all element, box sizing, border box. It means please the element inside should not be bigger than the parent. And this is the default in a lot of CSS framework. All the browsers should implement this in the future. They will make it the default. But for now, you could give it to the container, the element list box. But I'm just saying this is a very quick way just to reset that. Okay? Huh? It will apply to everything. It means what I really want is I say, hey, list box, right? List box, and then outside list. So in this case, list box like grow a little bit, and then the parent of list box. Then you also have to say like don't grow out of that. So the whole this is just the common syntax. And then if you Google like CSS framework, box sizing, then you sort of see like people arguing all over the place. You know. So whatever it is, in this case, I just want 100% that just doesn't exceed the parent. Okay? So go back to this. It still looks disgusting. This is an important one that you guys will also move away from. Initially, you guys use input type submit, but it's very difficult to style. So you want to move to button. And I want to keep the same thing here, save. That's it, and I delete this guy. But this button, it looks the same initially, but this button is a lot easier to style. So I have a save button, right? If you want to be extra strict, then you say, here's my save button, right? Background color, that, you know, green color, right? For example, in this case, you may change it to a cuter green. The color may be white. It's a little better, but maybe that is too white. It's getting there. All right, we want maybe the font size to be better. Maybe the margin at the top should be a little bit more. You see it's getting better. And then you can say maybe border is none. And it becomes flat. You can Google little properties like that to make your content pop. All right? And the green thing, well, maybe it should be like not green, but go and steal the other color that's like, you know, here's a cool thing. You can even say opacity is 0.8. Then the button look a little bit like semi-transparent, right? So that button is getting better. This special symbol, it's just a cross that look nicer than an X. The style of the X you can also style. So I already styled as cancel somewhere here. Cursor point. You know, now I see that everything looks good. Then I add the hidden thing in there. I don't want to make it too hard to debug my code. And now the toggle hidden journey begins. Toggle, toggle, and that's how this works. Right? So one JavaScript function for all the purpose of milestone A. Okay? Just let's work. Now, let's look at the clicking thing. That's a bit tricky. And here is, you can say, this is console.log. You can type clicking here. It's very important to use console.log inside event. This is a click event. Remember the for each function? What do you put in for each? It's another function that takes an element, right? Right? Remember in Ruby it's .each and then an element. In JavaScript you .for each and then the function that takes the element. You can also take an index. So inside any event like submit, click, they are events. So it takes a function that takes an event. So you see a lot online, you see that people write E. No longer element. E is short for event. Now it means I can also show you what the event is. Right? So this is how I'm learning how clicking works. And if you turn on this console, and I'm going to start going click. Okay? Click on this element. Right? And here's the problem. This element has so much text. This console is really useless. To prevent that, event.target, let's try again. Click on it. It's printing because it can only print this. This console is not very smart, but it serves a very basic purpose. You see that it's printing out the right target. Sometimes you want more. Sometimes you want to show the whole event. And that's when I stop using the console. And I go to change view here. Click the debug mode. I'm going to debug over here instead. And I open the console here. I click this guy. This is when it gets super beautiful, right? That's the event, and you can click in here and learn the elements that it supports. So there's a current target and a target. So when you click an element on HTML, the target is where you are clicking. Like this is your, remember this is your HTML body. This is your body. This is an element on it. When you click on this box on top of it, the target is always this guy. But there's a current target. So it's going to go through everyone. Current target is this box, and then the target is still this box. And that event can run, and then the body say, I received this too. Current target is this box. Current target is now the background, but the target is this guy. So we need to know that because I'm going to support clicking outside. Alright? Let's support click outside. It means I will call, this case I cannot call toggle, you see, maybe not. I say if you click anywhere in the body, okay, and then I say click, and then here's a function. And I don't like typing this in here, maybe, this anonymous function. I guess we can do that. Alright, we need to print this event so we can learn about it. Console.log, okay, console.log event.target, and then I'm going to say event.target, event.current_target, and then e.current_target. Thank you. So you just caught that mistake. All right. So look at, before I do anything, I want to log and understand what is this clicking on the body. Okay? So if I save this and then I go to my debug view, I click on this guy. You see that this is getting too big, huh? Let me go in here. All right. You see that I just clicked on this target, and then there's a current target, is like the body outside. If I click here, click outside here is not working. Click on the body, someone help. It's not as what I think. Let's see, the body here, where's my, I think there's something is not displaying. Let me see. So there's that clicking. Okay, so look at this one more time, right? You guys just saw that it's printing twice. When you click on the cancel thing, This guy prints clicking, right? So that's one. And then it goes through and hit the body, and then the body prints this. You guys see it? Right? So I'm gonna try it one more time. Here is from focus list, and then down here is from body, okay? So you see that if I click inside, reload here, if I click inside this list, it hitting the element first, and in here event.target is saying span list hidden, event.current target is the same, and then it hit the body, event.target is the guy in front, is always the same. It remembers the first one that you click at the highest level, but then underneath it you actually hit the body, right? Here's the interesting part. Do you see when I mouse over body?
Why is the body only?
Correct. That's why I click down here and nothing works. The body here, because remember we have all the floating, the body is not smart enough to expand way down. So I need to make my body really fat by eating a lot. So here is your body. So let's say if I do a background color on body, I guess, why is the body there, right? This body, like, look, this body is this one. Uh-oh. Why is this body so small? Whoa, this HTML is like way up here. And the body is way up here. So I need to make the body really big. Does anyone know how to? One way is just to say, hey man, maybe they can make the height bigger. It doesn't solve the problem because the HTML itself is very small. Then you're like, okay, I go to the head HTML and say the height is also bigger. Alright. Oh, now the HTML height is high. And I go to the body. Oh, okay, the body is higher. And then now when you click here, hopefully, oh, it works.
That's probably just a code issue.
Yeah, it could be. So did you see that it now works if I click outside? Yeah, but when you, so in the HTML, so naturally the body is inside the HTML, that's always, right? If the HTML is not covering the whole window, it doesn't have to. The content is so small. So I think your question is this. If HTML is height 100%, right? Why do I have to tell the body to be 100%? Good point. Normally people only do HTML. No, sorry, do body. Body is the visible part of the document. HTML, it has this head and some other things, so don't. I'm not sure if there's such a thing, like clicking on an HTML element, that doesn't make any sense. Only the body inside, so that makes a little bit more sense, but maybe you can try, alright? But still, HTML wasn't good enough. And here's one thing about CSS that we can learn. You have this list container and all these guys are floating. You see this guy is floating left? When you float, it gets taken out of the body. That's why the body is not going down there. So there is a common practice by people is that I go to the bottom here, I have a div. I say this one will clear all the floating one. It means I will be behind under all the guys that are floating above. So instead of 100%, stuff, let's see if this works. And then you see now body can contain the whole list. You see that? It's earlier it was just only up there. So at least this, and then if you put back one list like this guy, then the body becomes bigger because anything that's inside become a body. So let me try. Where's the closing? Where? Oh, here. So go here and I'm gonna run this and now check out the body, right? Body is just growing. Okay? So I think maybe this case let's do Ian's way. I think it's a very good question. What if I do HTML? Alright, and let me check HTML. It's only this much though. So my fix for this case, it's a very acceptable fix. Is say, hey, HTML and body, just take the damn 100% of the browser. Minimum. Maybe you say minimum height. Alright, so what if I save this, right? And then you refresh this. HTML, do you see the color? Body, you see the color? Alright, so if you console now, if you click here, it will say from body, but you know that the target, you're clicking on the body, and then the current target is also body, and it's also not hitting any other element. So this is where you can implement if e.target. Yeah? So how do you implement to check if this guy is the is this at a list? I think your team did it. Did you implement the at body thing?
No, we didn't.
Alright, so may I show you guys how to do this? In this
Does not, we had it where like it does not equal.
yeah.
The target does not equal to
You can cheat with jQuery. You see e.target is just an element, right? So you wrap e.target in a jQuery object. So I'm gonna say if this jQuery object, okay? Now I'll say if it's at a list here, then it say has class at list. So it has that class name. Then you don't do anything, you just return. Okay? If not, then what should we do? We should say it's probably toggle, but you don't want toggle. So I'm going to call toggle first, right? I'm going to call toggle and you see what I mean. This you call focus list, right? That's toggle, right? Let's look at the form. Sorry, this is too small. You see how this is going? Okay? So if you click out, what's wrong with this? It's sort of not like the if statement need to be in here. All right, so you need. So let's click on it. You see the toggle? You see what toggle is doing?
it's going back and forth.
They're going back and forth. That's not what we want. We want to only hide. So in this case, is you using this span at list again, but you say remove class hidden. No, actually add class. Remove class hidden. And then you say the form, because you're canceling, your form now should be add class hidden. Let's see how it works. By now I'm pretty confident. I say this thing down here, it works, yeah? And then if you click down outside, nothing happened. But if you click in here one more time, and you click outside, it's nice, just like Trello. There's one thing that a TA wanted to do is click here and I should be able to type immediately. Did anyone try that? Did anyone try what Trello does here? I click on anything here. I click, look, I should be able to type. Focus. So probably you can focus. So here's the, if you load a website and you see a lot of website, automatically you get the cursor, click on the username field. Let me try that. I put here autofocus. See if that works. I click this. Okay, not yet. Click. Oh, it doesn't work. Too bad. I was hoping it would work. Actually, it works with this app, no? Let's try. Click. Hey, it works. So I'm not sure what I did here. But there's a syntax that basically if you name this element, so and then let's see if it works here, okay? This is our code pen, right? This is the element. That's our element. It's hidden right now. You click on this. Okay, good. So this is the element. You say focus. Unfortunately, because you're not in the browser thing, this is not easy to type that focus. Let me try demonstrating the focus aspect. This is hard to see. So put it down. Alright, select this element. And then this guy has a... Oh, there's no focus here. Oh, okay, when you click focus, it will focus on that one. Unfortunately, so, for example, JavaScript, input, text, focus. I was able to get it done in here, but I forgot how it works. You could get this and then focus. Let's try. Oh, focus here, just get focus. Okay, this focus is like tapping to that element. Right? For the text, we want to do a little bit more. How did I do it? This focus. Yeah, it's just that. But in this case, okay, I don't know, maybe we will try it in our code pen, okay? So I click on this guy, it will go in here. So I'm gonna click on this input text new class name. The problem, I'll give it an ID, okay? So ID here is new list ID, right? And then I'm gonna call this ID focus. I'm just afraid that it's not. Let's try. All right, so it works. Do you guys see that it focuses in there? I think I got it done with autofocus, but my definition of a form was different. The layout is a little bit different. I think maybe because I put this inside the form, and then I put a div. Yeah, I put a div outside this guy, so I did not act on this form. Okay, maybe that one doesn't make sense for you guys. This autofocus here, I do it slightly different. I put the form outside and then add a list inside, and then the autofocus actually works because I'm inside the same form. So that's my approach. Yes, there's no need for JavaScript autofocus. But for our approach, then you can just get the element and then call focus on it. If it's a text input, it will run. It will switch to that and then give you the typing thing right away.
I was going to say you added an ID. This is what I was thinking about. So like pretend in the future we implement you save your name right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
You type the name, you save it, and then a new list, new option appears to add a new list, right? So does that mean there's going to be two IDs? Except
correct.
One of them is going to be hidden.
Yeah, don't use the same ID. Never, ever. Let's see if this one works. It still works. I mainly just try to use class. And if you have multiple elements, you may want to get the exact one. If you get this one, and if there's only one element, it'll focus on only one. But if you have like a few of this new list name, then you can get the first one, the second one, the third one to focus. Okay? And super fast. Get this, if you add the thing that I add in the lab here, add this script, there's a path here. It's just a path to the JavaScript file. Add it to your project. And then if you add in each list box, you can even tell this list box to be JS sortable. And your JavaScript here, you say, I have a sortable library. Act it on the JS sortable container. Then you will be able to drag and drop. Cool? And if it doesn't work, no problem. Go in here and look at the error. Probably it's not loading the JavaScript correctly. I hope the lab was fun. See you tomorrow.